Hello and welcome back to another Fun Fact Friday.
Babies suck. Every mother can attest to this, and they don't just do it for the reason you're thinking.
Fun Fact Friday, week 133.
Babies suck.
Babies are born with a ton of reflexes. Some of them stay with us for life, like the diving reflex. The diving reflex enables our bodies to manage and tolerate lower levels of oxygen when we're underwater.
And some of them, known as primitive reflexes, disappear as we grow.
This week we're taking a dive into another primitive reflex, probably the most important of them all, the sucking reflex.
But before we do that, let's take a look at the primitive reflexes that we've covered over the week so far.
The palmar grasp reflex.
The palmar grasp reflex happens when an object is placed into a baby's hand and its palm is stroked. Its fingers will close and they will grasp the object with a ferocious grip known as the palmar grasp.
To fully understand this process, some scientists in the late 1800s of dubious ethical nature set out to perform the hanging babies from a stick experiments that showed the ferocity of the palmar grasp.
Bonus fact! Have you ever been stuck in the crazy strong grip of a restful baby? There's no need to get flustered. Just stroke the back of their hand and it will have the reverse effect and open up their hand.
The parachute reflex.
The parachute reflex happens when a baby thinks it may be falling. It puts its arms and legs in a skydiving pose to protect itself from potential damage, especially its head.
This is an essential reflex whilst learning to walk and can be activated in any direction of fall. This reflex never fully disappears because it's a kind of fail-safe security mechanism for our own protection.
When was the last time you face planted the floor?
The Babkin reflex.
The Babkin reflex happens when you press both palms of a baby's hands. The response to this stimulus is that the baby will open their mouth.
I've always thought this turns them into a kind of human Pez dispenser.
The swimming reflex.
The swimming reflex happens when a baby is placed face down into water, at which point they begin to paddle, kick and attempt to swim.
This primitive reflex can be witnessed at mere days after birth, and we know this because, once again, there were some dodgy scientists experimenting with babies in the past. Here's a video from 1932 showing Johnny at 11 days old.
The asymmetrical tonic neck reflex, or ATNR.
The ATNR is initiated by turning a baby's head to one side whilst the baby is lying on its back.
When the head is turned to the right arm and right leg straighten, whilst the left arm and left leg bend. The opposite is true for the left side.
It is the precursor to the hand-eye coordination needed to reach for objects. This has also been known as the fencing reflex because of the position that they adopt.
En garde!
The gallant reflex.
The gallant reflex is elicited when you stroke the side of a baby's spine whilst they are suspended face down. The baby's trunk will curve inwards to the side of the stroking.
Its purpose is to develop range of motion for crawling and walking, and is also thought to play a role in the birth process, helping a baby work its way down the birth canal.
The most interesting thing about this reflex happens when you stimulate both sides of the spine at the same time. It can cause a baby to wee. Aha, the fingers of power.
That would be a pissy power.
The sucking reflex becomes fully developed by around 36 weeks into gestation, and it's probably one of, if not the most important reflex a child has, as it's needed to feed.
But when it comes to feeding, by itself, the sucking reflex would be useless. It would need its sidekick, the rooting reflex, to first find the food and get it to where the sucking reflex can take over.
The sucking reflex occurs when the roof of a baby's mouth towards the back is stimulated. This causes a baby to suck anything that touches the roof of their mouth, and it disappears at around 4 months, by which time it becomes a learnt behaviour and sucking then becomes the result of conscious effort.
There are 2 stages to the sucking reflex. Stage 1 is when they squeeze the nipple between their tongue and the soft palate. This stage is also known as the expression stage.
Stage 2 is the forward-backward movement that the tongue does to suck and create the suction needed. This stage is also known as the milking stage because this is the stage when the milk is coaxed from the breast.
Bonus fact! This reflex is what causes the neh sound in a baby's pre-cry. Don't know what a pre-cry is? Take a look at week 121 when we discovered that babies have different cries and you can learn to tell the difference.
While sucking may, at first glance, appear to be all about sustenance, as with most things that evolution has shaped, it serves far more than just a single purpose.
Sucking is related to mouth and jaw movement and can help prepare a baby for making sounds and speaking. There are strong links between feeding skills, i.e. sucking, and development of speech sounds.
For instance, fricative sounds, sh, th, and f, need the cheeks to be tightened and pulled inwards.
Plosive sounds, P's, B's and T's need a build-up of pressure that is dependent on good lip seal.
Then there's the L's and the R's that require lifting of the tongue, that requires good tongue strength. All of these sounds are improved with sucking.
Sucking has a myriad of calming and comforting effects too, something that week 114 unearthed when we looked into the world of thumb sucking.
We discovered that premature babies that suck their thumbs left hospital far sooner than their non-sucking counterparts.
It also showed that sucking has physiologically calming effects too, including slowing heart rate and breathing rates. Sucking also helps regulate stomach muscle movements that can aid digestion.
Then there's one of the more crucial benefits of sucking, the mechanical movement it provides to a growing and changing skull.
The birth process puts a baby's skull through some serious stress, and then it has to accommodate a rapidly growing brain after every growth spurt.
That's why their skull doesn't fully start to fuse until around the age of 2, and instead it consists of 6 separate bones. The occipital bone, 2 parietal bones, 2 temporal bones and the frontal bone that are connected by stretchy sutures, and together they allow for all this movement.
The problem is, these bones don't just always pop back to where they should be, where they are comfortable and all by themselves in a painless way. And that's where sucking can help.
Sucking can assist in their realignment and give mechanical relief. Think about how you swallow or yawn to relieve pressure in your ears, or when you suck on boiled sweets on an aeroplane to equalise to the changing pressure of the cabin.
This type of pressure and skull movement is at its most prominent in the weeks after birth and is also more likely in the weeks following growth spurts. This is a time when sucking will give the most relief, and for those babies that have experienced instrumental deliveries, unusually long or incredibly quick births, or are fractious after big growth spurts, cranial osteopathy can be helpful.
Remember that a sucking baby doesn't always equal a hungry baby. It could be for comfort, for stress relief, for bonding, for exercise and practice, or it could be just to help relieve the pressure from a growing and realigning skull.
If, however, you sense that they have a greater need to suck than most, then there's a chance that they're in discomfort and a trip to see a cranial osteopath may be in order.
Whether you think your baby sucks too much or too little, for comfort or for relief, remember that you'll never truly know whose baby sucks the most. Doesn't always equal a hungry babel. Babel? What the hell's a babel?
Because of the
Reflex.
Sorry, I got really paranoid the mic wasn't plugged in.
The asymmetrical tonic neat. More sass.
Less sass, more sass. When was the last time you face planted the floor?
Thank you for joining us for another Fun Fact Friday.
We need your help to plant more small acorns and reach more people. So please like, comment and share to show you care. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe and get alerts for a new fun fact every Friday.
We'll see you next week.